Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just
breathe. Jaju, jaju. You, 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 you. Jaju, jaju, jaju. Welcome, welcome. That's a little Bodhi version of an African song we learnt on the weekend for our ceremony that we had and celebration we had here, actually just here in this grass patch that you cannot see at the back of our house. We had lots of friends and family come out for the ceremony and celebration of our first child that is so close to being born. Super exciting, super exciting. Deep breath, deep inhale. Out of the mouth, sigh of relief. But this is about building authentic relationships with your students, whether those are primary school students, whether those are high school students, whether those are clients, other teachers, building authentic relationships with your students. I've been pondering this, and I spoke to one of the epic people in the Mindful Teachers Academy, Andrew, on this exact topic recently, especially because he's up in the Northern Territory working with these kids up there that, you know, they're not too keen on the knowledge and the information, and that they actually just want to connect. They're not hungry for that intellect, they just want to connect. I had some experience working with some schools in Western Australia. Kat and I went over and did a tour down around the Laverton region, and any time we spoke on the wisdom or the knowledge or the information that we wish to pass on to them, they would just lose connection. But when we came into storytelling, personal experience, or in practice and action, experiential learning, they were there 100%. So I spoke to Andrew about this a lot actually when we had a one-on-one, all about building greater relationships, more authentic relationships with your students. Yeah. And I've broken this down to 5 things that I believe are very helpful. This could be taken into your own relationship at home too. Yeah. But let's kick it with the school. So number 1 is being authentic yourself. How can you expect to have an authentic relationship with your students if you're not showing up real as you? If you're not bringing all of you to that space, if they cannot see you because you're hiding behind this front of being a teacher, how can you expect them to open up and give some of them to you if you're not giving yourself to them? So the first one is really, really, really about showing up in a real place. Be honest with them. It's not about being happy, being joyful, things are perfect. It's about being real with them. Share stories. Yeah? One of the best ways to engage with students, especially teenagers, but kids as well. Kids love stories, but teenagers love personal stories. What's going on in your life right now? What are you challenged with that they don't know about? What are things that you know they'll relate to that you could share? And maybe you could open up the class with just sharing stories, a little story circle, yeah? Or during the class, during the day, you could drop just a couple things of how you're actually feeling. Share how you're actually feeling. What's going on at home? What's going on in your mind lately? Yeah? How your sleep's been. Be really real with them. And actual stories of what life was like when you were their age. Where were you living? What part of the world were you in? What was your home life like? How were your relationships with your teachers or your parents at that age? This is the stuff where they stop, they look, they engage, they're present. because it's fascinating. We all love human stories. It builds that connection, and that connection builds a deeper relationship. Yeah? So be authentic. Show up as your true self, or as true as you wish to show at this point in time. And then they can show up as them. Number 2, actually give them respect. Give your students the respect that you wish to receive. Gift it to them. Welcome them to the class. Give them your presence. One of the most respectful things we can ever do for any person, especially on relationship building, is giving your 100% presence to that person. That's that quality time. Yeah? Doesn't matter how long that presence is for, that conversation, it's just being there 100%. No ifs, buts, maybes. Yeah? Show them you're there. That's how you start to build trust, which starts to deepen the relationship, yeah? Which starts to bring more of an authentic relationship with your students. So number 2 is actually giving them the respect you wish to receive. And that brings me to my next point. I don't know if this point even needs to be on here. It's a given. And if you don't think this is a given, then you got to go check yourself. Number 3 is not demanding authority like the figures of authority that you do not respect. So being an older brother or older sister to these children, being a mentor and a guide, a teacher to these children, means that you're an elder, gifting them, sharing with them, passing on wisdom to them. So be that. Not the authority figure that no one liked and no one still likes. The scare tactics, they only work for your own ego. So let's ditch the scare tactics, because I want you sleeping well at night and actually enjoying your classroom and your students and being at school. So be that older brother, older sister to these students, to these kids. Yeah? Come down on their level. And maybe, just maybe, they might even teach you a thing or two. Which brings me to my next point, number 4. Walk the walk. If you want to build more authentic relationships with your students, you must walk the walk. Stand in integrity. Yeah. The old saying, just do what I say and not what I do, is old, is burnt out, is exhausted, and hopefully has left the school and actually done something that they find a bit more joy in. You know, let's walk the walk. Yeah. So for example, if you're sharing mindful breathing or a mindfulness practice, a meditation or something in the classroom, and you're expecting them to do it with their eyes closed or hands on their body, and you're not doing it, you're not participating, hey, I wouldn't do it. If you're feeling stressed out, or you're getting very reactive in the classroom, and you're not courageous enough to say, hey guys, actually I just need to take a few deep breaths and I'll come back in a moment. Hey, I'm actually feeling really frustrated right now, I need to take a deep breath and I'll be with you in a moment. And come back. You know how courageous that is, but how simple that is. It's a simple step. It's showing your vulnerability. It's showing your realness. It's showing your authentic nature, which then starts to build an authentic relationship with your students. You know? Be vulnerable, be real, and make sure you're walking the walk. If you ask them to do something, why don't you do it too? Yeah. Lots of times I see teachers in workshops, or I'm going to come back actually. Year 11 was my best maths teacher. No, year 10. Year 11 was my worst maths teacher. Year 10, my maths teacher cared. She sat next to me. She gave real life examples and experiential wisdom. My year 11 was a nerd, very high intellect, very smart. She could not teach. She did not teach. What did that leave us with? More textbook, more copying from what she had already written before we got to class. No teaching, no sharing. Yeah? So there's a huge difference in that. Number 5. Start small. Yeah? Remember, building authentic relationships are like a long-term journey. Yeah? No one's just going to open up to you right here, right now. You haven't built trust. They don't feel safe enough yet. Some will, some won't. Each person is different with their own experiences, childhood, their own stories that they're carrying, their own pain they're carrying. So really acknowledge that, without the expectation that because you cracked one and you're having a beautiful connection with one, that should be like that with all of them. It might take 1 year to actually have one student really open up or be more real with you.